Waalaikumsalam. I'm Datuk Mohamad Zailani. Before we start, let me read the biography of Datin Seri. Right? Suhaiza Zailani is currently a Professor of Supply Chain, Faculty of Business and Economics, University of Malaya. She was a Head of Training Section and a Deputy Dean of Postgraduates, FBE, prior to her appointments as a Director to University of Malaya Entrepreneurship Centre, UMAC, in 2014. She was a visiting professor at Institute Technology Bandung, Indonesia in 2020, and as a research fellow at the Malaysia Productivity Corporations, MPC, in 2021. She is now as adjunct professor at Sunway University, Putra Business School, University Putra Malaysia, UPM, and University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Utah. She is also a distinguished associate fellow at the Technology and Supply Chain Excellence Institute, University Utara Malaysia. In terms of non-academic involvement, she is in the sub-committee in developing a national freight data by the Ministry of Transportation, MOT, and as the advisory board members to International Supply Chain Education Alliance, ISCEA Malaysia. Right? I think Datin Seri has achieved a lot of achievement here. I can see a long list of CV here, Datin Seri. So very impressive achievement Datin Seri has achieved. Right. So without further ado, Datin Seri, now the floor is now yours. Right.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rizaimy, for the introduction. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Very good morning to all the I would say the audience for the today's session, our webinar. Let me try to share my slide here. Am I sharing? Am I sharing?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum again. Assalamualaikum. Very good morning. First of all, thank you so much to the Office of the TNC PNI, as well the pemangku pengarah for the Research Nexus UiTM, for inviting me to be in the session today, webinar session, in preparing the staffs, academic staffs for the FRGS grant application. I'm not really sure whether I'm the right person to be in the session, because when I look at the the rest of the webinars that have been done, I think most of those are really hardcore people that actually relevant to the FRGS. In fact, UiTM, Dr. Rizaimy has actually approached me way back in the somewhere in December. But during that time I was positive COVID, and then later on I was down because of my booster. So today, Alhamdulillah, my session that will be talking on the topic of best practice in preparing a FRGS grant application on the management related topics. It's a bit different than what you have seen from the I would say the banner that you have seen, because when I look at the topic that the whole webinar is actually more or less about the same. It's about the tips, it's about how we can have a good writing. So for me, I'm wondering, I'm searching for the best topic, because if I keep doing the same thing, so people will say same thing what we have done before, and to make sure that we be able to grasp what things actually need to be in our FRGS. Therefore, I'm changed a bit slide in terms of the focus, whereby I'll be talking about the best practice. Okay, this would be my, I would say, agenda for today's. Yeah, I'll be starting with some aspirations. Both from UiTM as well from UM. Yeah. I think in UiTM there also a few lecturers with the name of Suhaiza Hanim. Yeah. So I'm Suhaiza from Malaya. In fact, there is one more from UPM and there is also from UIA. Yeah? So quite popular. Yeah? Suhaiza among the academia. Yeah? I'm hoping to see more Suhaiza among all these academia in Malaysia setting. Yeah? Of course, our surname is different. Perhaps my name is the most longest one, Suhaiza Hanim Mohamad Zailani. Yeah? Okay, so then I'll be talking about something about ice breaking, why we need to be more focused on the management research. It's a burning platform. As the agenda for today is more to focus on the management related topics. So I'll be a bit to twist our focus to be more on how we are actually tackling those topics that related to the management. And then we move on to the FRGS positioning strategy, which a bit I would say we also need to strategize. So what you have heard from the previous webinars is all about the tips. I think that would be partly that we can relate with the positioning strategy. And then the last agenda, perhaps, what are those FRGS hurdles? And we don't want to repeat the same mistake. We don't want to repeat the same hurdles. So we have to get over it, and try to come up with a good in our FRGS. Okay, so the first one will be on the aspirations. That's why what you have seen here, what you have gone through, from December last year until now. I think you have been called up for all these webinars, that arranged by the TNC PNI, that try to make sure that people are motivated and people are having the clear guidelines. What need to be written, what kind of things required to have to be written in the proposal applications for the FRGS. In fact, if you look here, the office itself actually has come up with a very good plan. Perhaps we have to be sure that the days that we still have 11 days, people can still have time to mold the proposal, to amend, to refine, so that towards the end, on the 26th of January, you'll be able to submit the good proposals. This is something that which I'm really impressed. Sees how aggressive your TNC PNI to help you guys in applying this FRGS grant. And if you look here, all the topics are quite similar. Talking about the winning the grants, writing a good successful, and and then mine is the last one here. I'm not really sure whether I'm the last webinar or not, because you have another 11 more days to go before your deadline on the 26th. Is there any more webinars, Dr. Rizaimy?
Yes, Datin. There will be a few more.
Yes, until on the 26th, there will be more and more webinars that you'll be, have a chance to be as opportunity for you to learn more, to see what things actually can help you further in your applications. Back in you, and back what you have seen from the previous years. Congratulations from my heart that you actually managed to get 206 projects. With total amount of the 20. It is quite a lot. So it's very impressed. And why actually the TNC PNI aggressive towards this? Because why? Towards the end, this will be the outcome that you see here. Because perhaps you wanted to see more faces to be recognized as a scientist, as a good researcher, at the end of the year. So hoping that those people that, the new applicants for this FRGS, one day that your face also will be up here, to be recognized as one of the, I would say, the best researcher, the best lecturers. It can be so many kind of criteria that or the awards that can be awarded. Yeah, unlike for last year, what you see here last year, for the FRGS cycle 1 2021, it's a bit sad because why? Our successful applications, successful FRGS, it was only 47. When we had in 2020, it was about 130. But then it dropped a lot. It has dropped, I think, significantly dropped. We only managed to get 47 successful applications with total amount of these 5 million. And then, and of course, our VC was very sad about it. And, the one that actually from our faculty, there were only 2 that managed to secure the projects, the grants, Dr. Zaifa and also Dr. Chan. That's why now we try to come up with the, need to be more focused. We need to identify what are the issues, what are the problems, especially from the business faculty. Why only 2 managed to get the total of 2 out of 47, then only managed to get this FRGS, And then we have done a lot of, study. We look into all the challenges of the FRGS among us, and we realized one of the reason because why we are getting a low amount of grants, because the numbers of applicants last year, 2021, it was not really, I would say, something that we can proud with. The numbers were very low. So because of that low applicants, definitely we won't get so many, successful applicants. So we had actually tried to come up with the remedial, what we can do to overcome these issues. And second issues is on the technical rejections, both sides from the evaluators as well from the applicants. So it seems that the technical rejections is one of the challenges among the applications of the FRGS in So we have to go deeper. What would be the reasons actually that we have these issues on the technical rejections, as well as the quality and stability of proposal. And then I think one of the reasons, because the quality itself is not really there, and the suitability of the proposal that try to cash on the fundamental is not really described in everything. So there could be issues that why most of our, that we cannot get we cannot get a larger number of successful applications. As what I've been informed, we only managed to get 20%, the successful rate. And actually 20% is quite low for Universiti Malaya. And in fact, last year we were the least successful applicants, among all these public universities. So it was a very sad to our VC. And the last one is on the available reviews and quality of reviewers. So I would say here reviewers actually is referring to the assessors, and then perhaps we will serve, as the internal assessor, we need to be trained, we need to be, to be exposed. How do we actually manage to help the applicants, help them, guide them, advise them what need to be done to refine their proposals. And because of that reason, we have come up with very comprehensive process flow of FRGS application for this year. And you can see, we have about 15 steps or 15 process that we have to go through from the beginning when there is a call for the grant of this FRGS. And first and foremost, of course, we are looking at the eligible one that only can apply for this FRGS. And I've been informed, there are about 1,400 lecturers, that are in the category of eligible to apply. We have screened through, we have filtered through those actually not comply to the requirements of these FRGS, they're not eligible, so they have to be excluded. And from what I have, informed, that our VC wanted this 1,400, at least we will have more than 50% to be to get this FRGS grant, yeah. So it seems that there are lots of things that we have to do to be sure that we can get that 50%. It is not easy, yeah. Because of that, our RMC has actually come up with this plan. It's a process flow that every steps need to be detailed out in order to help those applicants to come up with very good kind of proposal, yeah. And then, of course, the deadline actually is somewhere in March. So within that 3 months, I think all of us, the applicants, the assessors, even the management of our research office, we need to work hard to be sure that, towards the end, before the deadline, we'll be able to submit lots of applications, and those can be classified as the good applications, yeah, so that we're hoping that we can get that 50% success rate, yeah, towards the end, yeah. So why do we need to be I mean, in terms of back to UiTM, back to I think most of all these universities, we are now so aggressive, yeah, helping or try to increase the numbers of these applications. Because of why? The reason, because if you look here, is all because of, I would say, because of this world ranking. We want to be in the world ranking. It is good for the reputation of the university, and indirectly it will help to improve the reputation of our higher education. So again, when we look at the whole of the, the platform of our FRGS applications, so this little bit the ecosystem that we can connect, the whole thing, in order for us to achieve this QS World Ranking. I think this will be the ultimate of every management of the universities, that we want to be in the list. Yeah. So of course it has to start with the input, the resources, the group, research group. We need to have a good management, because of course the environment need to be supportive, right? So those are the inputs. Resources might be related to those applicants. Whether the applicants are well aware about these FRGS requirements, whether the applicants, motivates to apply or not for this FRGS or not. But then if we have a good input, but we don't have enabler, and then we don't really, can move forward. So we need to have an effective research management center. In UiTM Malaya, we do have this research management office, research management center, RMC, under the portfolio of the TNC PNI. So it is we have to depend on that. On the technicality, of course, we need to get inputs from them, and then if we have, if we receive we successful in getting the grants, of course, these are the results, that we'll be able to get the students, we'll be able to publish, and that will help us to increase our citations, and we'll be able to deliver the consultations from the output, right? And then, of course, coming from the industry, coming from the management background, that we are, pretty much related to the industry context. Of course, we will able to have the industry problem solving, and of course, we can serve the society. So these the results actually we are looking at. Even in your proposal, right? You can see it towards the end, at the bottom of your proposal, what would be the expected results that you wish to get from your study. So these are among them, But you need to be more specific. What are you looking at? What you are looking at, and then the impact. Of course, the impact. These are the bottom line, why we have to go for these FRGS grants. There are lots of grants actually available that can offer by the KPT, that offer by KPT, but the most least actually because FRGS is the fundamental one, which will be a bit basic compared than DRGS, compared than PRGS, compared than LRGS. So again, this would be something that can be the opportunity, for all the lecturers, how they manage to get the grants, and because the KPI of individual, I think wherever you are, UiTM or UM, of course, there's an element of research that will be counted as part of your KPI. Like in Malaya, we have now started with a new system for our KPI. Like myself, 40% from my KPI would be coming from research and publications. If I don't really have publications, if I don't really have grants, so surely I wouldn't get at least 80% of my KPI for that particular year. Yeah? And to get publications, of course, you need to rely on grants. Yeah. And although there are so many grants available, but I think, as I said earlier, the basic will be this fundamental, and we should try to get, to apply for this FRGS. Yeah. So this little bit about the aspirations, UiTM, even you are in UiTM or me in UM in Malaya. I think wherever we are now, it is we actually required, yeah, to be a bit active in terms of the grants application and how we can start it. If how to start with, we can just start with the fundamental one, which will, is offered by the Ministry of Higher Education. That actually is open every year. So you have to strategize if actually you know that it's offered for every year. So if you are not able to get for this year, so you can strategize for next year. So that would be the things actually we'll be talking about into this session. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is on the little bit ice breaking, because my topic given to me is required to be more focused on the management related topics. Yeah, of course, we are coming from management myself. Since like now, my faculty now has actually combined. Yeah, previous one I was in the Faculty of Business and Accountancy. Started from 2021. Our faculty has merged with the Faculty of Economics. Therefore, we have changed our name. Now it's Faculty of Business and Economics. Yeah. And in fact, my area actually is on the supply chain management and logistics. But now there's no anymore department on that. Now I belong to the Department of Management, because we have to combine to make it a bit smaller size of numbers of departments. Yeah. So now, why management? So if you look at your cluster, yeah, because we are in the social science, yeah, we are in the social science, and management is one of the cluster in the social science. Yeah. In fact, we do have language, we do have sociology, we do have psychology. We have so many clusters that can be under the social science. But if you compare our cluster with other clusters, it's a bit different, because we are the one that more related to the business environment. We are the more closer to the industry, and that has to be our niche area, which what we are doing either in our class or either in our research must be back to the industry. We have to look into what are those industry problems, and we can, come back to the class, discuss with our students. In our classes, all the case studies actually must be reflected to the real cases in the industry. So that's a bit special when we talk about this management discipline. Yeah, and in management discipline, we do have within the business context. Yeah, in fact, there are a few more sub clusters that we can look into. Yeah, I think go back to ourselves. Where are we in terms of our background? As I told you, that I'm from the operations management, because my focus in the supply chain management. So there are lots more actually sub cluster that we can identify in the social science. Or specific in the management. It can be marketing, it can be economics, it can be finance, insurance, transportation, accounting, computer technologies, and so on and so forth. So because of this, if you look back at the individual business faculties, so we do have all these as part of the departments that actually need to establish, so that students will be more focused, lecturers will be more focused their own niche area. Yeah? And according to the Association to Advanced Schools of Business, AASCSB, yeah, academics working within business schools have a responsibility to maintain a balance between good teaching and learning relevant to their business clients and useful contributions to practice. So, so since that we are the most relevant to the business context, so therefore, whatever that we are doing in our teaching, in our class as well, what we are doing in our research must be relevant to the business context, because, we need to be back to contribute to the practice, yeah. So that's the thing actually, why I would say that we are so lucky that we are in the management or business cluster. Yeah. Okay. Management research is designed to be a reference guide. So something that we have to be proud with, because at the end, the outcomes from our research, the teaching that actually we have conducted in the classes, actually is meant to help, those managers to solve their problems. Because we are actually related to them. So why we are there? Because we want to help the businesses to solve the problems. Yeah. So as a reference guide for everyday business, that improving management is seen as the best means of attaining, sustaining, as well enhancing the civilization. So, so it is a big task, is a big responsibility, because we are now perceived to be as the reference platform, yeah, for the businesses to solve their problems, yeah. And such research should produce a degree of understanding of or knowledge that manager can apply within their task environment. So this is very important. This is very important, and we have to be sure that whatever the impact, yeah, from our research, from our classes teaching, from our publications, has to be back to the industry, whereby the managers, the industry can apply those findings or results, or the knowledge within their environment. So unlike other disciplines, other clusters, which a bit broad than us, we do have a very clear clients who will be our clients. Yeah, our clients will be industry, and now we are moving along. How to embed the society as well to be part of our also as our clients. Yeah, and given the potential importance of management education to enhancing the effectiveness of real life managers, it is therefore important to increase the impact from the research. That's why when we talk about, regardless if you talk about engineering or faculty from the, information system, they are also required to have the implications, yeah, from their research. But the most actually, the relevant one to us actually is how, because we are the most closest to industry, how the recommendations, the findings, or the results can be used by the managers to help them in their daily activities, to overcome whatever problems they have in the organizations. Yeah, so that's something beauty that we have to appreciate, that we are in the management cluster. Yeah, and however, there's a question here that always been argued: how and to what extent managers use the scientific results of the management studies. So we have to be sure that whatever we are doing, of course, we know our clients, right, from our research, but we should not have that kind of element shock sendiri. Yeah, we have to remove, we have to avoid to have that, because when you have that, the shock sendiri one, since it seems that you are doing because you love to do it on your own, it's not having any benefit to the industry. So it's a waste, especially we are using the money from the government, and the money actually is coming from the society, right, from the public. So we have to be sure that we are using the money wisely, and the outcome from that, the grants has to be back to the industry, has to be back to the society. In a way, it helps to the government, it helps to the nation. Yeah. So now, how and to what extent actually managers use the scientific results of the management studies? Okay, this is one paper actually I managed to get, from Kaiser, Nikolai, and Shield, 2015, argue that in order to advance research on the practical relevance of management studies, it is necessary to move away from the ideological to more rigorous and impactful research program. It has mentioned here, we have to move away from what we used to teach in the class, what we used to do in our research, more on the ideology, more on the theoretical base. We have to be more rigorous, we have to be more giving like more impact in our research program to investigate how the results of scientific research are utilized in management practice. Yeah. So what we have to do, we have to have a well-designed research program for examining how the knowledge generated through management studies should be utilized, should also examine the impact of the relevance debate on the utilization of such knowledge to both research and practice. So this is something that, again, as I said, the short sendiri element has to be now out from our mind. We should not do something that because of we love to do that. We have to be based what the outcome later on that can be written back to the society, that can be written back to the industry, practical way, because it will be giving like huge impact to them, because they are depending on us to get the solutions of the problems. Yeah. So based on that, it is now required for us to sit down to look into what are the best area, what are the best, I would say topic that we will do, that we can do in our grants application, that towards the end, we do have some impact that we will have back to the industry as well to the society. Yeah. So these are among the research grants that have actually successfully secured under FRGS under the cluster of social sciences. Yeah. And then of course, as I said just now, in social science itself, we do have lots of the sub-clusters. And since that we are from the management, so these are the sub-clusters that we have in the management. And you can see here, because we are talking about the FRGS, the fundamental, yeah. I think, after you have heard, you have attended so many webinars, to explaining what is the fundamental is about, how do you describe fundamental in the research and so on. I think, I don't have to go deeper on that, but I think by now you managed to grasp, what would be the required, things in your topic that will tells the assessor, will tells the panels that you are doing something that related to the fundamental, because the topic is the starting point that we will look into at your proposal, right? So if your topic in the first place is not really seems like fundamental itself, so surely we won't read the whole proposal. Straight away we will recommend it not to be, to be processed. Yeah. So again, the impression, of that fundamental must be shown in your title. So this among the the titles that reflected to the fundamental element. Yeah. A framework for business sustainability, governance for disaster risk reduction, a sustainable micro franchising business model, a framework, green consumer profile, a model of theories, sustaining the economic growth of Malaysia, a model of workplace, and so on and so forth. So you can see there's a pattern there. There's a pattern among all these successful projects, that relates, that actually directs to the same kind of, I would say, pattern, framework, a model, profiling. So because these are the one that catch, the element of this fundamental. We are not testing anything. We are not we are not study on relationships. No, at the fundamental level, try to avoid those kind of words in your topic. Yeah. Okay, a little bit about what I have done so far. Myself. Okay, as you know that actually I'm as a lecturer, I'm now going to my 24th years. As a academia. I started my career way back in USM 2000, from 1998 to 2012, and then I joined UM in 2013. Yeah. So these are among my completed FRGS. It seems not a lot. Yeah, of course not a lot. I have actually not I would say stop. Yeah, I have stopped applying for my FRGS. Last it was in 2014 or 2015. Then I have no more actually. Focus on FRGS. Yeah. Now what would be my strategy is to help the juniors. Be partner with them, be a co-researcher to them, for them to be able to apply for the FRGS. And if you can see here, I have actually so far joined with the UKM, UTA, UiTM, as well the UMT. Yeah. So this is the time where I have to get back. I have to go back to the basic. How actually I help the juniors in applying for this FRGS, and my own one. I'm now focusing more on the higher level of grants, which will be more on the DRGS as well the BRGS. Yeah. So the one that I'll be focusing here, that I'll be a bit, sharing. I want to share a bit on what actually we have done way back in 2019. Because this grant actually been applied in 2019. We just completed the grant last year. Yeah. I would consider it's a very successful one. Yeah. Which I was the co-researcher to my partners in UMT. Yeah. So
This video presents the invention entitled IR 4.0 Seaport Adaptation Model, invented with the collaboration between two universities, which are University Malaysia Terengganu and UiTM Malaya for the IDEX 2020.
Okay, we had actually articles as promised in our KPI that we will have articles Q1, the ISI at least, yeah. And then we also promised in our KPI that we'll have the students. Of course, we managed to get one student, master students that actually has graduated from this program. And we also have actually promised, we will have one innovation, or what we call as innovation. And actually we have participated in IDEX 2021, and Alhamdulillah, our group managed to get gold award in that invention. And after that, we have converted that invention and to apply for the IP. Yeah, and now we are in the midst of, getting our IP from that model that we have developed. Yeah, so in 2019, as you can see, is not a bit more complicated than nowadays. Yeah, started from 2020, then we have more things that we need to clarify, in terms of our niche area, in terms of our SDG and everything. But in 2019, it was only need to identify what cluster that you are in, what national priority area that you are in. It's just that it's a bit simple than the one that we have seen lately. Yeah, started from 2020. Yeah. Okay, so this one of the I would say successful project that I have collaborated with the key researcher, the lead researcher from UMT. Yeah, and for myself, what would be my KPI in UM? Okay, in UM, to claim for KPI, those grants which are not coming into our account, it won't be counted as part of KPI. So it means that my collaborations with my partners outside UiTM Malaya, I cannot claim for my KPI. But for me, it's okay. It's okay because I can get my KPI from other baskets, not necessarily only from the grants. But I love it. I love it. And time to time, every year, I do receive lots of requests for me to join the group to be as their co-researcher. Yeah, to be as co-researcher. Yeah. So for this cycle 2021 last year, as you can see, we are so lucky. Yeah, 3 applications have been put up. Yeah, but 2 successful. Only 1 not successful. The red one actually is not successful. Yeah, and the 2 one actually successful. And it seems that for me, it will be my. Even though I cannot get my KPI, I cannot claim for my KPI, but I love it so much because it is part of for my akhirat later on, that I will help all the juniors how they can go about, in applying in FRGS, and how they can be, getting it successfully. Okay, so what I'll be talking next, I'll be sharing you guys, what those things actually in these two proposals, in these two proposals, and one from USM, another one from UKM, and this one actually it was from UMT as well, Okay, so these are the two successful applications that we have received last year, 2021. One is on the modeling Muslim consumers' confidence on halal online food delivery, and one is on the advanced technological challenges and drivers in Malaysia, agro-food supply chain, the case of blockchain and big data. And you can see, of course, it is direct to the management research aspect, right? It is very obvious. And of course, it's very obvious that we are in the social science, coming from the business discipline, So, and you can see a bit different than what you have seen earlier in our proposal, in our form, right? So they have added a few more here that you have to identify, where are you in terms of your KEGA, and what are you in terms of the SDG, This started, as I said, it was started in 2020, So of course, we are in the social science domain, and our subdomain is business, And the research cluster, you can see, the list of the research cluster. I think from previous webinars, of course, you have seen a lot, all those presentations that have presented on this aspect, what does it mean by research cluster, how many are there, what does it mean by MISTI, what are those 10 social economic drivers actually is categorized under MISTI, what would be the SPV 2020, the Shared Prosperity Vision 2020, and what would be the SDG. So actually those are things actually I think everyone by now should know already, and it has to be depending on what topic that you're doing, so you cannot have the similar kind of clusters, because it has to be depend on the topic that you are doing. For example, this one, modeling Muslim consumers' confidence on halal online food delivery, because I'm a bit also interested on halal topic, right? So this lecturer has actually invited me to help her, on how to go about in doing, for the halal aspect, Okay, so the cluster, of course, social and economic well-being, and then because it's related to the food, of course, for MISTI is water and food. For the KEGA, because it's talking about halal, so there's one of the KEGA C is about halal and food hub, and then of course this actually our clients usually is can be society, it can be industry. So here it is more related to the responsible consumption and production. And similarly, what we have done here for another project, which was from UKM, advanced technological challenges and drivers in Malaysia, agro-food supply chain. And of course, still, the domain social science, and we do have this research domain business, and of course related to food, we still have food safety and security. For the research cluster is a bit different than the one actually we have in the halal online food delivery, because this is more on the food safety, And then the water and food for MISTI, and then the smart and high value agriculture, because actually is involved the agri. So, and then for the SDG, of course, back to the the industry. So responsible consumption and production. And this is the executive summary. So why do I actually put up these three? This is very important. The topic, as you can see the topic here, and all these elements you need to be very you need to very confirm, what those areas, that related to the topic that you are proposing, Be sure that you are correctly identify the areas, because this, although actually it looks a bit, it looks very like not important, but for the assessors, when we want to categorize your research, will be looking at these informations, And then, as you know, that you need to provide with the executive summary. This is very important. And the topic that you have proposed with your executive must be in line. And you need to provide a very concise, precise, and interesting executive summary. Okay, and these are the first platform, to assess the whole of your proposal. If your topic is not really fundamental, but we still can have, still need to look through your proposal, what actually you have proposed. So the first thing we will go for the executive summary. In executive summary, actually, it tells you a lot. There are 5 things that you have to do. You have to capture the 5 things in your executive summary: your problems, the gaps, your method, your objective, your method, your expected output, as well the significance of the output. So make sure the 5 elements are being captured in your proposal. You cannot miss out, because we will have the idea, the whole of your proposal, what you are trying to propose actually it will be from your executive summary. If your executive summary, it doesn't fit to the requirements, if the executive summary is very bad in terms of writing, English, everything, right, and it's not really good, then I think there's no way the assessor will read the whole of your proposal. Yep, it will be this from these 2 points, the topic as well the executive summary. So this is the 2 that you need to be sure that you need to focus. Is very I would say that have comply with the requirements of these FRGS applications. Okay. Okay, and then for this coming cycle 2020, I also have received a few invitations, from different from other universities to collaborate with them as a co-researcher. Again, because we have successfully done in our first collaborations, so we are still in the same team for our second project. And then this from the same project. From the same group that we have actually secured in 2019, and now we are continuing for another project with the same group, and this from the UMK wanted to look into this sustainability by using all these IR 4.0 adoptions. So inshallah, if we make sure that everything is in order, all the required things actually in FRGS are there, so I think it should not be problem for us to get this grant. Okay. As the FRGS assessor, as I told you from the beginning, I'm not the KPT assessor. I'm only the university level assessor for the FRGS grant. And so far, these are the list of grants that I have actually assessed. And of course, mostly they are from UiTM Malaya itself. And as assessor, actually, we have been, advised need to go thoroughly the proposal, but need to be reasonable. Because this actually at the level of university. So it should not be so. I would say so critical. So therefore, from the 10 grants that I have actually evaluated, only 2 that actually has not been recommended. I will share with you later on. What be the reasons that I have not recommended them to be for this FRGS grant. And you look here, the topic, because these are more on the reflected to the management. So there are so many kind of areas that you look into here. But time to time, actually, when they want to submit, I always, in my reports, of course, there are a list of things actually they have to do to refine the proposal. Okay, so as I told you before, I'm not anymore at FRGS. Since there are other things actually, other grants actually that we can apply. So I'm more looking at the other than FRGS lah. Okay, these are the things actually on the grant challenge research. Actually, these are the internal research from UiTM Malaya, and these are 2 from the KPT's grant. So if you go for higher level kind of grants, it's a bit different because you need to be multidisciplinary. You should not be at your own in the management kind of topics, because we won't be able to get any grants, because for those who are, to apply for LRGS, to apply for the DRGS, or, other higher level. So we should integrate ourselves, we should actually collaborate ourselves with the, other disciplines, engineering, or the computer science, or from the science. And of course, where are we in terms of business? What would be the things actually in the business element? So this is the one actually we have submitted for mostly grants, yeah. And where are we in terms of how do we fit in, if you want to apply as part of this team. So normally we will be at towards the end here. We are looking at, rather than, business model, we are looking at the sustainability model. So this would be our contributions, how we can contribute into the project itself, right? So we have actually submitted this grant, strategic research fund by MOSTI, yeah. It was on the development of a sustainable river cleaning pyrolysis plant, to convert the plastic to become organic waste, to come up with the high value materials. So my part would be more focus on how we are helping the group to help to come up with the business model. Yeah. So these are my team members actually. Unfortunately, we just received the results, and our proposal has been rejected. Yeah, it's a bit sad. Yeah, because we have spent a lot of times last year just to focus on this grant, because we are applying for about 15 million. Yeah, the total amount of this grant actually 15 million. And after many discussions, many meetings, many kind of presentations, and at last, towards the end, we actually rejected. So again lah, we should expect, that kind of rejection. So, but that's part of the, part of the process involved. And another project that I also involved is on this, how we come up with the, a smart kind of technology that help the planters, the oil palm to pluck the fruits, right? And my part will be more on the productivity and sustainability ecosystems. So this actually is a external grant that we apply. Still have not received the results yet. Hoping to get one. Okay, this is the thing, time to time when you are as the academia, right? I think FRGS might be, relevant to those juniors. Yeah, juniors. I think you just came back from your PhD. It's good, to be exposed with all the fundamental things, right? Because you are exploring new things. You are, you are trying to get, your interest research area. Yeah, so it is good. It will be very good, for those juniors that try to keep applying for this FRGS. But when you are at a certain level, I think like myself as a professor, senior professor, I think FRGS, is not anymore. I would say my list of grants that I will apply, but rather than I'm helping my juniors, how they go about applying the FRGS, and myself I'll be more focused as the leader for other kind of grants, for other kind of grants. Okay, that's a little bit the ice breaking, how do we fit into these management related topics, that give you a little bit, the idea what things that can be done, and what are the things actually you can identify to be as your area that you wanted to do in your FRGS. So the next one will be more, we will be discussing more on how we are positioning strategy in applying for the FRGS research grant. So you need to position your proposal. I love to use the word of this positioning. You need to position your applications, your proposal, because if you good in positioning your proposal, because it's very straightforward, because you can see in your proposal, in your applications, there are marks, there's a marks. Yeah, so if you well position your proposals and you manage to get all the marks, high marks, surely you will be recommended one. Yeah, I'll go for that later on. Yeah, but this again, yeah, where we are coming from. Yeah, started from 2021, 2030. That we have to be sure that whatever that we are doing must be in the scope of this 15 list of KIGA, yeah, means that key economic growth activities, or simplified by the KIGA. So the topic must be within this area. It will be good. It will give you some kind of scope, yeah, that what you can do, on what can you be more focused in your research, yeah. And then again, we also need to be clear. We need to be clear in every applications you want to put up. Yeah, we make sure that you have identified the research domain. There are 7 research domains, so you should know where are you. Of course, as what you can see from my previous applications, of course, we are in the social science. Yeah, so there's no way that you can see the word of management here, because we are only the sub-cluster, the sub-domain of the social science. Yeah. And then besides that, we also need to identify clearly where are we in terms of the research cluster. So there are 8 research clusters, and in fact, we in a management, it can be multidisciplinary as well. So we can be everywhere. We can also be in environment. Yeah, if you do something on the sustainability, you're doing something about circular economy, I think that would be more relevant to claim that you are under climate change and environment. And if you do something about the hospitals, the lean practices in hospital, the quality management in health and in health industry, everything. So it can be related to health. Okay, and then the social economic well-being. So if you do something about the performance and looking at the behavioral kind of aspects, I think that will be more relevant if to claim that you are under social and economic well-being. Yeah. And now, more things that you need to identify, need to be clear, that you also need to identify where are you in terms of these socio-economic drivers. So there are 10 here. So need to identify, and again, as I told you, yeah, must be based on your topic. That's why in your topic, you have to highlight the keywords here, the keywords. So the keywords will tell you where are you in terms of all these kind of requirements. So must be very clear from the topic how you are digesting, to make sure that you will get those very, clear keywords that will be related to all these requirements of this FRGS. Yeah. Okay, and then not only that, started from 2020, of course, we will have to do more. We also need to identify where are we in terms of KEGA and where are we in terms of our SDGs. Okay, KEGA stands for the Key Economic Growth Activities. Yeah. So it is a lot here. I think everywhere, if you're doing about finance, you also can do about here, KEGA 1. So in a way, I love it so much, I love it so much because it will give us a very clear directions on what we are doing. So what we are heading to. Because from this identification of the KEGA and SDGs, towards the end of your proposal, you need to highlight on the applications, you need to highlight on the outcomes, and they have to be back to all these, the one that you have identified to be as your KEGA as well, your SDGs. Yeah? So, it looks something that, why do we need to have, some lecturers that always ask, why do we need to go for all these, requirements? But in a way, if you go deeper, when you have, start to write your proposal, and then you realize, because all these elements, in a way, you need them to be discussed in your write-up. Yeah. So that will be something that will give a very clear picture, on the directions of your research. Yeah. Okay, so again, as what we have seen in the previous slides, I'm just show it again. Yeah, so these are KEGA, these are SDGs, these are MISTI, and these are the research cluster. So need to really clear identify your area based on the topics given here. Yeah, based on the topics that you wanted to do. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then now fundamental research. I think you have seen it a lot. In fact, by now, after you have gone through, like series of webinars, giving you exposure about this fundamental thing. I think by now you should know what does it mean by the fundamental research. It's all about how and why. So it's a very clear cut. So your topic, your your research gaps, your research objective, your problem statement, of course, it has to be directed to these two questions, how and why. It's very common to see, right? Some lecturers still have the question of what in the applications, surprising, yeah. The moment when we see the what here, obviously it wouldn't be anymore under this fundamental. And of course, we have been advised, if you see the what, as part of the research objective, so you have to just ignore the proposal, just reject the proposal upfront. So it is a bit wasted, yeah, because it's really clear from the beginning that fundamental is only about how and why. So please avoid to have any questions that related to what, yeah, because we try to exploring, yeah. It is a fundamental, it's very basic. So more on the questions of how we are going about it, how, why, and so on and so forth. So these are the two one, yeah. Leading to the advancement of knowledge in the areas of human and natural sciences. It is basic that generates new theory, concept, and idea for knowledge enhancement to deal with unresolved fundamental issues problems. So we need to get some homework done, yeah. Exploratory, do something, what those actually issues in industry, issues in the society that still unresolved. And from that, then you will have, these two questions, how and why. How do we solve the problems? Why in certain areas actually that hardly to be solved? So these are the things actually you need to be sure capture in your proposal. Okay, FRGS encourage generation of new theory, concept, idea that catalyze new discovery and innovation, invention for knowledge enhancement. So what you see from our previous grant, on the seaport, we try to embed the importance of IR 4.0 into the seaport industry. So then we identify what are those things needed in the seaport, because IR 4.0 itself, we can have physical, we can have digital, we can have biological. So what would be the most relevant to the seaport? So come up with the innovation, invention as the outcome from that research. Yeah. Okay, and then if we compare the research categories, of course, the what would be from the PRGS. It's not from the FRGS. So do not ever to have the questions of what and where in your FRGS. Try to avoid that. Yeah, try to avoid that. Yep. Okay, and this is the one actually I love to share. I love to share it. That KPT do have lots of grants actually. Every year they do offer lots of grants. PRGS, LRGS, sometimes you have the TRGS, right? And also, besides that, we do also have the Science Techno Fund, Inno Fund, and so on and so forth. Okay, if we mapping out the relevancy of all these, the correlations, of all these types of grants, the fundamental one actually is here. Fundamental is the beginning one, right? So the here, the first level of all the grants that we can see here. So therefore, it's a starting point for you to start the research, and then from the FRGS we can start. We can expand further to be as part of the PRGS, or it can be part of the LRGS, or it also can be part of the Science Techno and Info Inno Fund. Yeah, so it's towards more on the knowledge development. But because we are from the management discipline, we are from the business discipline, so we are not so much on the development of the technology itself. We are more on the development of the ideas, development of the solutions, the development of the some kind of knowledge how do we overcome certain issues or certain uh, problems in the industry. Yeah, so we started from here. So knowing this, where are we in terms of our research, right? So it will be good, advisable, yeah, if you want to apply for your next grant, there's some kind of continuation, yeah, from your first FRGS to your next FRGS. It will be good if you can plan well the continuations, because as assessor, I have actually been informed that your track record as a researcher, as the applicants will be as a mean, right? And you cannot be everywhere. At one time you are doing your finance topic, at second, the next one you are doing about technology topic. I mean, there's no continuation from your previous research to your new research. So my advice, if you have actually applied once FRG as PI, as a PI, not as a co, as a PI, be sure the next one actually will be a bit connected to what you have done before. In the same area. Of course, you need to explore another new area, another new ideas, another new kind of solutions, yeah, not the same as what you have done before, yeah. But it will be good, yeah, there's some kind of continuations, yeah. I will tell you that later on, yeah. So the words that must not be in your FRGS objective is to design, to optimize, to control, to manage. No, you have to avoid that. You have to avoid this because these are not relevant at the FRGS level, yeah. It's not relevant at the FRGS level, yeah. Okay, so this example of the two actually that we managed to get or secure the grants last year. So here, what is the underlying factors influence Muslim consumers' confidence in HOFD? So we try to identify the factors. Of course, you have to ask the question of what lah, yeah. Is in some cases what still acceptable, but do not to study what kind of relationships should not be that way. There's no way that you can establish the relationships, right? So there will be no way that there's a hypothesis that correlate between one variable to another variable. Yeah? So why and why? Yep, why and why? Why and how? Yeah, why and how? Why Muslims consumers have confidence in HOFD, and how internal external factors, how to develop, and so on and so forth. So this framework, it doesn't show anything. There's no kind of hypothesis, but it just gives some connections, the connectivity between the theory that we are trying to enhance in the context of this halal online delivery, food delivery, which we're using the theory of consumption values as well the CAB paradigm, yeah, for the responsible halal food consumption. So my advice, it will be good. It will be good if you guys can come up with a framework, yeah. But this framework, it doesn't mean to be tested empirically by using all these hypotheses. Try to avoid that. But the framework is meant to help to map out, to map out the flow. How do you connect your studies with your objective as well with all the required things, your SDG, your KEGA, your MISTI, and so on and so forth. So it will be very clear, to show to your assessor, yeah, the connectivity and how do you claim that you are in that particular, SDG or in that particular KEGA and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this another one. This study don't have any framework or model, but we are proposing to have that. Yeah. Okay. What are the technological advancement opportunities? So it's like still under fundamental, but we are trying to exploring what are the technological. We are not testing on the what are the impacts, what are the what are the relationship, not that kind of what, yeah. Still acceptable because it has to go back to the method on how this RQ can be answered, yeah. So later on I will show you the method. Okay, research question, what is the current practice? Yeah. What is the standard and differences? How can the theoretical and actual practices, blah blah blah, and so on. Yeah. So if you look deeper here, even though there's a question of what, but the what is more reflected to the the fundamental. Just want to explore. Still at the exploring stage, yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay, so now one of the things that I would advise you to do, in your applications, how do you position your proposal, right? One of the things actually try to not to lose any marks, not to lose, huge marks in certain criteria. You make sure that all the criteria, you fulfill all the marks for all the criteria that you will see in your form. Yeah. Okay, the criteria assessment. The research applied for must be able to produce a new idea, theory, concept, method, model, or it can be also part of the process. Yeah, and the research that can improve existing policies, methodologies, and solution models. Yeah, so this is also one of things actually we are looking at, because policy here would be one of the contributions later on. What you can propose to the back to the nation. Yeah, and research involve humanitarian and society issues for increasing the value of life locally and worldwide. So humanitarian actually will be more on the behavioral side. On the society, it can be in the industry and so on and so forth. So that would be very good to increase the value that can be used later on by the industry and so on and so forth. Research that has the potential to contribute to the national strategic agenda. So if you refer to the here, so if you can have like a mapping, right, to map out the positions, to put the positions of your article in terms of the national agenda, that will be very, very good, helpful. It's very helpful, yeah, to give a very clear, clear informations to your assessor, yeah. Okay, so these are the criteria assessment of the FRGS, yeah. And then, of course, it will be required, yeah, before you start to apply, you need to read through the garis panduan. You need to read through the guidelines, understand the requirements of this fundamental from this, buku panduan. So, some lecturers always go for the shortcut, rather than they understand the whole the requirements of this FRGS, just straightforward apply for this grant. But if you have actually done it for a few times, actually you have the experience, I think that will be okay. But for those who have not, this is the first time, you just start to be engaged with this FRGS. So I think you need to read through. Yeah, there's a new one, yeah, pindaan tahun 2021. So every year the government will come up with a new garis panduan, will be pindaan from the previous year. Yeah, so you need to read the latest guideline, because why? There could be some of the things actually has been amended or has been refined by the KPT. So you need to know that. Yeah, you need to know that. Yeah, what will be the latest requirements from the from the KPT for this year grant applications. Yeah. Okay, so the characteristics of good FRGS. So once you have read the garis panduan, so then you be able to at least got some idea what would be the characteristics of the good FRGS proposal. I think this will be our aim, yeah, our aim. And everywhere if you go and reflect back to what you have seen from your previous webinars, people are always discussing about winning the applications, come up writing a good FRGS proposal. I think those elements are almost the same, wherever the grants that you're applying, the good elements is very important. It can be in terms of the contents, it can be in terms of the formatting, in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the how you highlight, you highlighted the needs, the problems very well. How do you communicate, showing that you are able to complete the grants? How do you convince actually you'll be able to finish your research on time and so on? That would be giving you a sign that you are able to produce a good FRGS proposal. So means to say that you cannot do something, you not plan do something which beyond your capabilities, which you won't be able to, to complete it on time. So that actually is not a good kind of things actually need to have in order to write your FRGS proposal. Must be realistic, must be neat, must be very concise, must be these are all the elements of I would say good FRGS proposal. But again, it's not enough if only have good proposal for Kementerian's tinggi grants, because it's very competitive. FRGS is very competitive, and of course, like UC Malaya, because we are the top university, right? And of course, we have to depend lots of the grants for for our publications. But last year, as you can see, we are the least applicants that successfully secure the grants from FRGS. So actually it indicates something, so either the quality is not really there, or because we might be able to get other external grants. I'm not really sure. So our RMC now actually has studied the reasoning from the last year successful applicants, and we try to improve further, take some remedies, how we can overcome those kind of challenges to make up issue. But as I said, the FRGS proposal is not only look at the good one, so the good, quote unquote, of course, good, something that will be, you impress your assessor, but there'll be another things that actually they are looking at, which is on the impactful. Which is on the impactful. Good only is not enough. So what is an impactful FRGS proposal? So when you are positioning your FRGS, of course, one thing that you have to look into on the good, criteria that you have fulfilled. But you also need to depend on the impactful one. So how do we define the impactful one? So an impactful research is one that makes substantial contribution to the field and sometimes beyond that. It's not the good one. It's not the good one. The impactful one. In fact, when you go back, from our early slides, I did mention that now management time to time. I mean, since like we do have lots of research, under our own discipline. So now the most impactful one will be more, looking by the industry, that how those findings, how those research actually help them, not the non-impactful one, not the good. Good, so the define is a bit subjective, when you talk about good, Okay, good research versus impactful research. Good research, of course, I said, you follow the research process perfectly. All the criteria needed for FRGS, you followed exactly perfectly, but may lack of novelty, be obsolete, have no meaningful contribution, replicate previous work, not up to date with the field. So be watch out. You be watch out on this, be watch out on this. Although you are good one, as what you can see here from the previous slides, you fulfill all this, you fulfill all this, everything actually is in order. But if you don't have this, you still not considered as good. So you need to have the impactful research, follow the research process perfectly. Of course, that would be the basic one. Address an original problem, novelty, significant scientific value, address well research gap or knowledge gap. So this is very important. So that's why in the last, in your form, there's a last point that you have to address is on the impact. The impact. So if you're not well addressed the impact of your research, that what you expect to get from your research, that's the point, that we will see whether your research will be considered as impactful or not. Right, and to position your paper, if you have good but you're not really impactful, I don't think you will get the FRGS. So that's why I also here the positioning word is very important in the writing up the proposal for the FRGS. Yeah? So what does it mean by impactful FRGS proposal? Yeah? So you need to be sure that you can have some element to contribute to the practice outcome that can be adopted, can be adapted, can be implemented, can be used, can be commercialized. This is very, very important. Yeah? Practice means that the practical, yeah, who are them? Can be the industry, can be the society. You need to be sure on that. Yeah? Highlight on the practical impact. And secondly, it will be impact to the policy and decision making for both public and private sectors. Right. And you know, because we are getting the grants from the government, yeah. So in a way, help the government to, you know, recommend something that what can be refined, you know, in the existing policy, or can be come up with a new policy and so on. So this is very, very important, because you are coming up with a new study from new, from the new, as a new knowledge, right? Of course, the findings can help the government in developing a new policy on that. Yeah. And of course, you know, do not forget, because we are lecturers, the outcome from your research must be something that must publishable. Yeah, can be published. So it will be wasted if you have done your research and there's no publications out from your research, right? And the findings of your research must be disseminated. And how do you disseminate your findings? Actually, through your publications. It can be either in the form of articles, it can be in the form of, you know, books, chapters, manuals. It can be anything, but must be shared, must be disseminated. That's why always, you know, there's one requirement that you have to highlight how many articles that you wish to have from this research. You know, perhaps the minimum you can put actually is one article. You know, but based on the capabilities, based on your own credentials, you know, if you feel that you can have more, you can just put 2 or 3 articles, but must be something that that can contribute to the KPI of the yourself as well the KPI of the university. Yeah. Okay, contributions to theory, new idea, model, framework, guidelines, principles, algorithm, as well the formula, and of course, you know, some impact on the ROI, because you are being funded by the, you know, government, and the money actually is coming from the public. So be sure that whatever things that you have done, even though you cannot, you know, contribute in terms of monetary, but the outcomes actually will be helping the nation as a whole. Yeah. So this actually what we would would be interesting. Yeah. We would be interested, yeah, to see that you can highlight all this impact in your proposals. Yeah. You have to convince us, you know, in what ways actually you have all these impacts. Yeah. Okay, and then of course there's one in the form on the helix impact. Yeah, last time we had the triple helix impact. Yeah, but now we have quintuple helix impact. Instead of only 3 helix impacts, yeah, but now we have 4, which we have, we have more than 4. We have like 5: society, academia, government, industry, and environment. So again, yeah. The burden that we have from our project, is now becoming more and more. The impact is not only, last time it was only 3, the triple helix impact, the academia, the government, as well the industry. But now, since like we have a few more the stakeholders being in, so quintuple helix impact. Yeah, academia, of course, new theory framework, and we can have the citations we can get from that, right? Publications, industry, new applications, government policy, regulations, society, environment, the impacts, societal and environmental impact. I mean, that has to be clearly, need to be clearly defined, to be clearly described in your proposal. Yeah. Okay, so this the evaluation of criteria of FRGS, but this is the old one. As I said, the old one, it was before 2020. Yeah, we only have 10 criteria here. We do have the 10 criteria, and every criteria we do have marks. My advice now should be focus on this. You should not lose marks from every each of these criteria. And if you look here, the most largest point that you have actually is coming from your methodology, 25%. So be sure that you comply with the requirements and get the maximum as possible, every marks for every each of these criteria. But now, there's a new list of criteria, not only 10, but we have added another 2 more. Kementerian has added another 2 more criteria, on top of these 10 criteria. Okay, by the way, if you can just calculate this, how many would be total up here? It will be end up 100%. Last time, the criteria is only up to 100%, and we go for the new evaluations criteria for FRGS. Now we have another 2 more, right? 2 more, 11 and 12, pattern search and collaborations, and those are actually both 2.5 and total end up with 105. Now we have 105 total, not anymore 100. Yeah. The last time what you have seen here is total up 100%. Yep, 100%. But now the total number now is more than 100, which is 105, which the 5 coming from the pattern search and collaborations. Yeah, collaborations. So what would be different between the old and new one? Yeah, the old evaluation and the new evaluation. Yeah. Okay, so last time they do have this pattern. In fact, they do have this required for the pattern, but some lecturers just take for granted, ignore this part. So now they are putting the marks into it so that most, all applicants can take seriously on these 2 criteria. Yeah, and then as I said, my advice is like to be sure that you don't lose marks in every each of the criteria, right? For example, here, track record of project leader and composition of team. You have only 5%. So be sure that your project member, the members, the project team, you have some credentials from the previous research, blah blah, and easily you can get 5 marks from here. And your title also you can easily get 5 marks here. And executive summary, as I said, you need to have the 5 elements in your executive summary. Make sure the all 5 need to be captured in your executive. You can get 10 marks from here, right? And then your research background actually is combining few things. You have the problem statement. You can have the hypothesis as well in your research background, and then you can have some literature reviews in your research background. That give you another 15% more. So if you have everything, that will be, easily you can get that 15%. Objective, be clear, avoid the non-fundamental kind of objective, then you usually can get 12%. And methodology, I will go for that later on because it's very important, because it's actually the highest mark. The highest mark is coming from your methodology. Yeah. Quality of proposal. It is very simple. It's a quality proposal. I mean, you be sure that your proposal is good written, in terms of the language, in terms of the grammar, in terms of the structure, in terms, make it a bit more professional. Yeah. I think you can easily get 10 marks. And we are lecturers, right? We have actually seen our students' assignments, our students' report. Of course, we always comment about their quality. So again, the same thing. So it should not be repeated what you have commented in your students for your students' project to be in your own kind of work. Yeah, be sure, and then you can easily get 10 marks. Yeah, elements of FRGS criteria. So easily you can get 5 marks. And translational potential, you have to claim how many students, you have to claim how many articles. Those easily can get 3 marks, right? I'll be telling you more about these 2 pattern search and collaborations. So strategize and sit down with your team members how we can be sure to be able to position our article, to position our proposals. Yeah. That we don't lose any marks in every each of the criteria, and definitely you will sure you can get more than the more than the minimum marks, for the recommended one, recommended points, that you need to that will be forwarded to the Kementerian, Okay, this is the assessment criteria. What are those assessment criteria? We have 12 main criteria. Previously, we only have 10, Previously, the old one before 2020, we have only 10 main criteria. Now we have added another 2 more. So becoming now is 12 main criteria with 28 sub criteria. And of course, we have to use the scoring system. You have 2 scoring system. One is weight, the other one is score. And the weight actually is between 3 to 25, as what you can see here. It's between 3 to 25. 3 the lowest, and 25 is the highest one. That will be called as weight. And then we do have the sub criteria. And sub criteria, we have the Likert between 1 to 10. 1 very good and 10. 1 very poor and 10 is very good. So the assessors, we have to play around with all these scoring system. Because the marks will be very objective. It won't be any element on subjective, because we'll be based on this scoring system, the weightage as well, the score. So this the previous one, you have 1 and 10 ranking, So those, if the marks given for one of the evaluation criteria less than 5, migrants will automatically set not recommended. So not recommended. So now be sure that you will get at least 80 to be recommended. 80 to be recommended. So be sure should not be less than 80. And then those more than 84, that will be highly recommended. So this would be the stage that it will be forwarded to the Kementerian, to the KPT. But those who are in the red color, it won't be. So be sure that you won't have skill less than 5. Okay, this is the one actually I have shown to you, the one that actually got rejected. Got rejected. So this is the scoring, and this is the actual one. And towards the end, only got rating 1. Got only rating 1. So whatever below than 1, it will be not recommended. It's not recommended. So if not recommended, so it's up to the level of university. It won't be forwarded to KPT. After a few, even though after a few changes been done also, if still not comply with the requirements, so we are not recommending that. So for the internal assessment, so we do have 3 categories of decisions. Resubmission, for those who actually recommended to do the resubmission, they are allowed. If the reviewer click resubmission, the proposal will be forwarded back to applicant for the corrections. And not recommended, not recommended, the red color will be between the marks between 0 to 79. So it's a bit different between the not recommended one and resubmission. So the not recommended one, as you can see from the previous one, right here. So it will be straightforward. It will be considered as not qualified lah. But for the resubmission, if the reviewer think that actually there's a point that the applicants can do some refinement, so we can just click here resubmission, and those the recommended one will be above 80 to 85, and of course those actually highly recommended, that will be okay lah, should not be a problem, right? So this for the internal assessment. And then all required criteria has been marked completed. If not recommended, comment required, select resubmission even for the minor changes. So this is very important for those internal assessor. Of course, we will see this one. We will see this one. And then for the KPT assessment, so this is very important, right? So there are three, recommended and highly recommended. The not recommended one, it won't be forwarded. It won't be forwarded to the KPT. Only be forwarded those the recommended and not and highly recommended one. The green and also the purple color. That getting the marks 80 and above. Below 80, it won't be forwarded. 100% will get the rejection. Okay, now the highly recommended between 85 to 100%, this will be 100%, will guaranteed 99% lah, 99.0% guaranteed that you will get the grant. If you have been highly recommended, by the internal assessor and forwarded to KPT, that you will be in this category, that of course surely you will be getting the grant. But those who are in the category of recommended, 80 to 85% will be only considered if the cluster social science still got money, right? Still got fund. In fact, I've been told, KPT will try to mingle around, trying to get the money, the funds from other clusters if there is some balance to be, used by our cluster. And those, the recommended one, although it's been recommended by the assessor, but they are not yet guaranteed. They are not yet guaranteed to get the fund. Provided if there is money, there's a balance of money, then there should be offered. Yeah. So what KPT is doing, there's a rule of thumb which they try to maximize the successful applicants as many as they can, right? To go for this objective, right? So for those who are applying for 2 years project, normally they offer between the 80 to 100k grants. Yep. They won't offer more than 100k for 2 years one. So for those actually applying for 3 years, is between 100 to 150k. So they have to be balanced because their objective is to try to maximize the successful number of applicants as many as possible. So the cake has to be shared with everyone, right? So rather than you are getting like on your own the maximum grants to 150, it won't be fair. So, and this is the chance where the recommended one will get a chance to be as successful applicants, right? Although they are only at the stage of recommended, yeah, and it's depending on the fund actually in our cluster still have some balance, yeah. It's depend on that, yeah. Okay, the assessment criteria scoring. So this, as I said, yeah, the applicants need to be sure that try not to lose the score, right? The moment where you are not good in targeting, all the criteria, then you'll be easily losing the marks when you losing the scores. When you losing the scores is end up with you not getting the required level of 80%, then of course your proposal won't be recommended, it will be rejected. Yeah. So as you can see here, the research background is 15%. Make sure that you have quite high score that you can get from here, and be sure, because in the form itself you can see is already stated here what are those elements that we are looking at every criteria. So be sure that you can address all those elements properly. You address all those elements properly, because these are the points. These are all the points. Because when we are assessing the proposals, we will be looking at all these things. Like executive summary, you should have 5: problem statement, objective, methodology, expected output, significance output. So you need to have all these 5 elements. Of course, in your executive summary, there's limitations of the words. Be sure concise. You cannot write your executive summary in a very long paragraph, because it has its own limitations, number of words. Yeah. So be sure that you capture all these things. Okay. Now, for research background, so these are things. Elaboration of the title, clarity of the problem statements, if you have the hypothesis, you have the framework, just show it, cited most recent last 5 years related references. If you have your own articles, you can just cite them, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not really like PhD, right? You are not allowed to have self-cited kind of references, but this is a grant proposal, it should not be a problem. So do that. Yeah, it will be giving you a little bit impact, because we will see, what things that you have done before to support your application. So those articles that you have published that related to the topic that you have done, it will be good to be cited. Yeah. And then in line with government policy, national agenda and global aspiration can help alleviate the problem at local. So these are the things that you have to be sure that you can highlight that in your problem. Okay, now the assessment criteria scoring, next one will be objective, 12%. Yeah, you need to be SMART, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, as well within a time frame. So do not propose something, to develop something is beyond your expertise, beyond your capabilities. So must be appropriate enough, yeah, and must be related to problem statement and research question. Easily you can get your full mark here, yeah. 12, yeah, 12, yeah. And then methodology, as I said, is 25%, is the highest, the most largest, yeah. Need to be clear, able to achieve research objective as well, include research design flowchart. So these are important. So now in your proposal, it is needed, yeah, for you to have few diagrams, not only the framework, but also your research design to map out your methodologies that capture your RO and your RQ. Yeah, that will be very clear. That very good. You need to have your flow chart. It's very good. The steps, activities that you'll be doing, from the beginning until the end. With regards to your research, the Gantt chart actually is to map out the milestone. When you want to achieve certain milestone and how long it takes to achieve certain activities, yeah, and the activities and also milestones. So I think what we will see, if you can have about 4 to 5 diagrams, that would be very good, yeah. That would be very good, very, very helpful, for us to to make it as this 25% completed, yeah. In fact, for the flowchart, Gantt chart, I think this is required. Yeah, you need to append the file as well in the form. Yeah? Expected results, you need to claim. Yeah? You need to clarify. You need to convince us. Yeah, there's a new. Sorry, where is it? Yeah, there is a new findings or knowledge. Okay, new theory. I would say at our level, unless you are very good in terms of your research, you have published a lot, you have actually explored the area for so long, so perhaps to the end you can claim some kind of new theory that you can develop. But those the young one, right, which don't have yet much experience, I think to claim for the new theory, that's a bit difficult, right? But what you can claim is a new theory, a new findings or new knowledge. And publications in index journal, you need to have that. Yeah, it can be up to you. You want to claim as 1, 2, or 3 is up to you. But be realistic. I mean, if you're so excited, you want to claim 5. Towards the end, you cannot achieve that 5. That will be trouble, right? As long as you can have 1 will be enough. Yeah. And intellectual property, so that value add. You can have the pattern, you can have the invention that will be value added to your proposal, because you have 10 here. And talents, you need to claim, how many you have talents, human modal insight, either from the masters or PhD student, and easily you can get 10 marks, 10 marks, yeah. And then the track record, if you be sure that, qualifications and rank of researchers based on the expertise, you need to rank them based on their expertise, how much they will be contributed. Okay, I do have one case here from my previous proposal that I have actually reviewed. I know everyone, the team members, because they are the internal members, the from the faculty. And the topic actually is not really relevant to that one of the team members, right? Another team member actually, her area is something else, but she is in the team. So I was curious about that. What would be her contributions? Need to really justify. What things actually those researchers can help in terms of the can help the research. Well balanced team. So well balanced teams here means that you need to have some kind of combinations, right? for those who are juniors that have not yet even 5 years experience, like you don't have even 5 years compilations of your articles and everything, that will be a bit hard. So now how many team members, that must be appropriate lah. If you want to have so many, that will be giving you hard time, headache to have lots of team members, so the most appropriate about 4 to 5, that would be very good one, 5, but if you only have 2, that again, justifications need to be given. What would be their role? What would be their weightage contributions to the project? Evidence of previous successful research project. This is very important, So the team members, they have to portray that they have actually done lots of research, so that will be giving some impact lah, that the project can be successful because you have a good combination of members that can help each other, and of course surely can towards the end can make sure that the project can be completed. But again, it's only 5%, but although it's 5%, you should not lose that marks 5%. Easily you can get that 5%. Make sure that you have this complied or fulfilled. Easily you can get that 5%. And then quality of the the proposal, meticulous. You need to have a proper language, good formatting. So it's again, easily you can get that 10% because of you are taking well, the quality of your proposal that you are submitting. The paragraph, the sentence, the grammar, the tables, if you have the footnote, the references list, everything must be in order. And elements of FRGS criteria, again, easily you can get that 5%. If you can claim the impact. But we are coming from the social science, cutting edge is not really relevant to us. Even little bit you can claim on the novelty lah, that actually is needed. You have to claim for the novelty, what is new in your study. Okay, this is the new thing here. Okay, the translational potential is 3%. You need to highlight on the risk assessment as well on the impact on the equitable helix, as we show as we seen just now, right? So this another 3%. Of course, it's quite easy, just to go back to your research. How do you assess in terms of the risk, technical, budget, also the timeline, whether you'll be able to achieve or not. So these are things. Okay, actually this 105 marks actually is a bonus mark. 5% actually is considered as a bonus mark. So those people that have not done this, not completed, not fulfill this one, that's okay because you still have that 100%. But you are losing that 5 marks. Easily you're losing that marks. For example, that you're only getting like 75 total marks, right? But if you have this 5%, then you end up with 80%. Then you will be qualified to be recommended. Right? You'll be qualified to be recommended. But those who are actually the non-recommended one, that will be considered this 5%. But those who are actually highly recommended and recommended, normally they do have all this, properly lah. But it will be counted for those, the non-recommended one. So be sure. And what is this pattern search? What is this collaboration? That will be here. You need to go to the migrants, right? There's a pattern search here that you need to add the info here, and you need to go through this website, http lens.org. This now, as I said, easy to do, and then you easily get 5%, and that 5% actually is quite a lot to help you to be in the category of recommended, right? To help you to be in the recommended category, that you will have a chance to be forwarded to the KPT, and if KPT got money, surely you'll be successfully to get a grant. Proof of pattern search must be submitted for each research grant application. Must be, and you have to show us the proof. You have to show us the proof. And what's the objective? To provide awareness on the need and importance of producing unique and innovative research. So last time people are saying, okay, FRGS just enough to claim for the paper publications. No, we are looking for invention and innovation as well. And to convince that that you are coming up with novelty, that's why we go for the pattern search. And then these requirements for FRGS is required, yeah. But for PRGS, no, for FRGS is encouraged, but for PRGS is only required. Yeah, at our level is only encouraged. As I said, yeah, you know, if you not do, it's okay. You will not be penalized because you don't have that. It's okay, but you won't get that 5 bonus mark. Easily you cannot get that, right? It's a waste. Yeah, and then these are the things that you have to keep, you have to show, you have to give the proof, right? You have to show the proof of this pattern search, right? So, and then you have to claim and to simplify your, you know, the pattern report, you need to fill up this report. And you have to claim how many numbers that found using the keywords. Okay, now, I would love to discuss about this, right? If you have lots of patterns found, you know, when you use your search results, right? It shows that there are so many that patterns have done on that particular topic, right? So you just claim here, yes, but again, you can justify. You can justify. If yes, justify. Perhaps in your case, the application blockchain and big data technology is quite new in the agro-food industry, or is still new in Malaysia. You can claim that. You can claim that. So do not be worried so much if when you found that there are so many patterns that have been done similar to you, you know, in your own category, should not be demotivated you at all. It's okay, but just justify. Perhaps the context that you are doing a bit different than them. So just justify. It should not be a problem, right? See, social science section, the research induced social science perspective into science and technology disclosure. So this is something that, you know, that we as assessor will need to look into, yeah, when we are assessing the proposal. Yeah. So this in terms of the pattern search. For the collaborations, okay, now collaborations is another bonus mark that you need to do, right? If you do, you can easily get that 5 marks, 2.5%, right? But if you not do this, you'll be losing that 2.5 marks. Yeah, is a waste, right? Because if your marks is about 77%, right? Just another few more to get in the group of recommended, right? But because you're not doing this, that will be you know, it's wasted, right? Okay, now the research collaborator, you need to highlight, is there any industrial linkages? If you have the, you know, the end user, the recipient of your project, or perhaps you do something about a case in a particular company, or in the setting of industry, for example. So you might have the industrial linkages, so tick on that. But if you have the agency organizations linkages, so tick on that. But you need to be sure that you have the letters. Okay, as I be informed, the letter intent, it won't be accepted through email. You know, the email one, they need to have the letterhead from that agencies. They need to have the letterhead from that company. You know, the email or the corresponding through WhatsApp or through other things is not accepted. So they need to have the letter confirming that they want to collaborate with you with the cover letter, yeah. So, you know, okay, what I would advise, you know, for those who have not ready to get this collaborator for this round of application, I think that will be okay lah. Because it's actually towards the end of the day, you have another how many more days? About 11 more days, right? It's a bit hard to convince agency. It's a bit hard to, you know, to approach the organizations, right? But you can strategize it for next year. For, let's say, for this year you are not successful, so you can strategize for next year. One thing that I should stress here, I heard from some of the speakers that mentioned that you cannot reuse those rejected proposals. Actually, you are allowed to reuse. Yeah, you are allowed to reapply with the same proposal, but surely there's some kind of changes need to be done. Should not be 100%. Right, you need to do some refinement. You need to do some amendments, yeah, in your proposal in terms of the topic as well in terms of the problem statement. It's very important because in your executive summary, only these two, you need to have some kind of to differentiate between what you have done before with this new year kind of application. Because KPT, they do have this turning in, right? They will go to turning in just for your executive summary, not the whole proposal. So be sure that your executive summary do have some, changes compared to the last one that you have submitted before. Be sure, you do that, you do that. Yeah. Okay. So what kind of collaboration letter? So this is the one actually you have to do. Yeah. So you need to be sure that there's a letterhead. Yeah, there's a letterhead. There's also letterhead. I just cut and paste here. There's a letterhead that you have to be sure that those people are really willing to be as your collaborator. Yeah. Okay, and risk management assessment. So this is actually required. Yeah, for FRGS is very required. Yeah. So what you have to do, it can be many aspects. You can talk about the data collection, issues. You can talk about the respondents issue. You can talk about, the issues if you that can be related to your data analysis. It can be related to your method. It can be also related to publications as well, your IP and pattern. So there are many things actually you can highlight, that you might foresee there's some kind of risk that can be happen. Yeah. And you also need to justify whether they might be low, medium or high. So be sure lah, do not tick on high, because that would be jeopardize the whole of your applications, right? So we are assuming that it should not be so high kind of risk, in terms of this technical timing, also budget. Yeah. So like for example, this one, primary data analysis is unpredictable. Yeah, you can relate with your data collection. Yeah. Also you can relate with your data analysis. Okay, since no printing cartridge are allowed, the cost for the survey questionnaire will be high, because you need to go and do, online, so on and so forth. So it might be, survey questionnaire will be high. Yeah. And the publications may cause delay because the time between research. Yeah, you can highlight that you might not be able to publish on time, timing, as what you have actually promised your outputs, because of we need to depend. In fact, like your IP also, your patent, you also cannot promise that you will get those on time, because like our case, we have applied our patent last year. Until now we have not received anything. So that's the thing lah that you have to highlight, because it will need to be reported in your final report later on. Yeah. Okay. Dr. Rizaimy, how many more minutes we have?
I think we only have about 1 more minute. That's it.
5 more minutes, yeah. Okay, so this is for one. I won't go detail on that. Yeah. Okay, now this eligibility. Yeah, eligibility. Like in now we have identified there are about 1,400 lecturers that eligible. Means you say that you have 75% active reports and 100% for projects completed in the monitoring. So then you need to, those who are not eligible, it won't be you won't be able to go in to your FRGS. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we are about to be in our last session, but this session, I think what most of your previous webinars actually they have been talking a lot. What do and don'ts, what are the things that should not do and you do. So I think I won't go detail on this. I think perhaps see like this. These all are the hurdles. I would say the hurdles of FRGS. So should not be repeated. So when you do your proposal later on, just go and screen through all these things, right? See, is there in your proposal or not? Right? Try to benchmark, try to compare what actually been listed here with your proposal. If there is some kind of things actually here be in your proposal, then you need to do some kind of amendments. Yeah. So I will go detail on this. I think I will give you the slides and you can go through, see how actually things what are the things actually I have highlighted here. They are more or less about the same as what the previous webinars. Yeah, more on the do and don'ts. Yeah. Okay, this on the objective. Okay, the acceptable research objective. To investigate, to determine, to assess, rather than to study. Be sure that to see, to profile. I mean, this is something that is not really measurable and it's not really confined to the fundamental. Yeah, so these are not good objective. Right. Okay, this is chapter 1, to assess, to investigate, to develop, to investigate, to evaluate, to propose. Yeah. This methodology, 25% is very huge. Yeah, it's very huge. So make sure that you have everything in order. Okay, now what I would say, yeah, the 25% is very huge. So therefore, it would be good to map out your method properly at that link up with your RQ and your RU. It is very if you have a multiple methods that you propose to be used in your write-up, in your proposal, be sure that what you are connect them, yeah, in your method. So it can be shown in terms of diagram like this. It's very good. And most of the reviewers are looking for this kind of inputs from the applicants. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, the expected outcomes. I think you have seen it a lot. Yeah. So the society, industry, academia, and government, the impacting. Yeah. Okay, must be well written. Yeah, 10%. Okay. Yeah, this is one. Easily you can get 5% if you have this. Yeah. Okay, still waiting for the official letter from collaborator. Yeah, you can highlight that. But if you can have that, of course, you can get full marks. Yeah, that would be good if you can get full marks. Yeah. Yeah, for the FRGS budget, you should be sure that you know what you are applying. Yep. So as I told you, the KPI rule of thumb for 2 years, put the shilling of 100,000 only. So you should not apply more than 100,000 for 2 years, right? And for this, the 3 years, it can be up to 150,000, right? So be appropriate when you are budgeting your project. And honorarium should not be in your Wood 11, it should be removed. Yeah. And what you can claim here for the Wood 29, you can claim for the conference fee, journal editing, and analysis sample. Okay, now for the social science, I think you are needed. So be sure you capture this, because later on when you want to publish, you want to get the conference, you want to get the journal editing. Even you can have the journal fees. Yeah. So please budget properly here, 29. So for social science is very important. Yeah. We might need to have 27, but not so much. Yeah. Now we are more online, right? Yeah, of course, we need to have this 21. Yep, that you can claim for your sample collection, your conferences in local, international meeting, fieldwork, analysis sample. 28, I don't think really that we can go for this 28. But 35, what you can claim is to buy software. If you have, but normally what would be the remarks from the assessor, right? The software can be actually asked from the PTM. If you want to have a PLS, you want to have Amos, you want to have Listrat, you want to have MVivo or whatsoever, PTM should have them. So you should not buy on your own. So normally we always comment on this Wood 35. You want to buy the software. For PC notebook, all the the gadgets are not allowed. Yeah, should not be allowed. Yeah. So please avoid that. Okay, I think last, not for least, and not last for the presentation today, positioning the proposal in the mind of the assessor is very crucial. Is very important. So for me, do not lose points, scores, easily from those things that actually you are not really taking well, from the criteria that be looking at by the assessors. It could mean the difference between success and failure, right? It could mean the difference between success and failure. So you need to positioning your proposal properly. Yeah. And then what is next? What is next? If the project is retained for funding, so Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah that if you are successful, so inshallah your face will be there in the next recognitions, by your TNC, PNI. And then if invited for resubmission, revised proposal, feedback from the panel. So this is actually more on the internal level. If rejected, can be very frustrating. Do not give up. Try to get feedback. Remember, it is a learning process. So that's what actually I can conclude from my presentations today.
All right, thank you very much, Datin Seri. I think you have shared many tips. I'm sure all of us have learned a lot during this session this morning. All right, I think Datin Seri, now it's already 11:06. Probably we can allow for one or two questions. Just probably the participants would like to ask. So can we open for Q&A for one or two questions? Right? Any questions you can straight away ask from Datin Seri, because I haven't seen any questions that you ask in the chat box. Right? Any questions?
Okay, I can see here there's one. Yep. What's your advice to junior researcher as we don't have strong track record in publication and research grant? So what I would say is good to have a combination of the team members that quite senior and those with the juniors, right? So but you have to start from somewhere. You should not just use the excuse I'm junior, I don't have anything. No, you should start from somewhere. And the records that you have applied for your for your applications, right, for the FRGS actually will be there in the system. So the assessor will know how many times you have applied. So if you've been rejected for one time with the reasons that you are still junior, you don't have the credentials yet. So again, never mind, it's okay. Because of that reason been rejected, so then you apply for next year. And then for the time that you have built up your publications and everything. So you need to start from somewhere. So just should not be demotivated because I'm still junior. So do not use that excuse, because you won't go anywhere if you keep using that excuse. So you have to move forward, get at least 5 articles published, then you can use it to be in your applications. At least you need to have 5 publications, right? So, and then be sure that you have a good combination of team members, that which senior and also you junior. The senior will be more, importance in terms of guiding you, the fundamental aspect as far the whole of the proposal, the research progress. That will be need to be, I would say, need to be guided, because you are being given like 2 years. So if you're not comply with your timelines, you're not comply with your milestone, then again that your project will be stranded in the system until you have submitted your final project. So again, the strategies must be there lah. So you need to be come up with a good plan. If you this year you are not able to get yet your FRGS due to some reasons that you are not yet ready because of your publication and everything, but you prepare for next year. So as I told you, you need to have your FRGS basket. I always ask my my team member, time to time, when you have the ideas what you want to do as part of your project, keep it in your drawer. And you can start to develop that project even though there's no yet call for call for applications for the FRGS. Be ready upfront. When the time that the application is open, then you already have everything in place. Especially to get the letters from your collaborator, you need to convince them. And to convince them, you need to have a good rapport with them. You need to start to communicate. You need to show them something. Then they will be able to to collaborate with you. It takes time. You should not do it in a very short time to ask people to join you. It is not that way. So again, you need to well plan. For me, if you're not able to do it for this year, perhaps you can keep it for next year. So again, proposal must have drawer. You need to have your own drawer to keep your proposal ready. So whenever there's a call for publication for the grants, you already have that ready. That will be a good one. And then the seniors will help you to strategize in terms of publications, in terms of your invention, in terms of patent, everything. So what we had done for the project with UMT, I'm now guiding them to write a book, right? Because we have published 2 articles. So the next step is to help to publish a book. So we are in the midst of writing a book, even though it's not been listed as one of the KPI, but it will be wasted if we are not try to to expand to leverage further what we have, the outputs from the research that we have. So it will be like full-fledged, the whole thing actually we have as the output from that research. although it's not been listed as our KPI earlier in the proposal, but that is something actually we can go back to the society, we can go back to the academia, that we are sharing the more knowledge with them from the findings. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? So I think Farah, am I answering your questions? Yeah. So for those who the juniors one, right, should not be demotivated because I'm still junior. So do not use that excuse. You have to start from somewhere. You need to start from this year. If you not yet started, start from this year. Develop yourself some credentials with the publications, then you will be able to have that. And at the same time, you are free to get anyone to be your team members, but must be sure that they are in the line with your topic. They can be outside your department, they can be outside from your faculty, it can be outside from your university, it can be people out there, but must be academia, internal, in local, in Malaysia setting, or it also can be internationally. So you can get the partners even though they are from the international. That would be very good. Yep. Okay, why the reason that we need to have international partners, right? That, I mean, if you want to add your supervisor's name, so that's really fine. Because by having them in our project, they will help us in terms of publications later on. Yep, so we can have them, we can have their names in our publications, and having those international names in our publications, actually that is a bit weightage lah. Carry some weightage for the to get the acceptance, especially for the high impact journals. Yeah. So it would be good to have that, to have them. You are not allowed to have the team members from industry. You are allowed to have the team members from the academia, wherever they are in the world. So do that. Start with your supervisors first. If they are, I mean, you did your PhD in overseas, start to collaborate with your supervisor first. Be as your member. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Datin Seri. So I can see Dr. Amirul is asking for slides to be shared. So we will share later after the session ended. I think the Secretariat will share the Datin Seri slides. So I think we have come to the end. Datin Seri, now is already 11:40.
Questions? Okay, I think you can ask my numbers from the organizer, right? For those who actually wanted to have more discussions, I don't mind to help you guys. Yeah, that's the reason why we are the senior professors. Need to help those the juniors. I don't mind on that. And in fact, my numbers also, I'm not really concerned to share my number. I think you can get it from Dr. Rizaimy as well, from the organizer. They do have my numbers. So hope we can, I can help you in a ways, how you can come up with a good or impactful kind of proposal for the FRGS. Yeah, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Datin Seri. Definitely, we will look forward to learn from you more, from a very experienced researcher and also distinguished speaker. Thank you very much. So I think we have come to the end. Datin Seri, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights on the FRGS. I think that's what.
Okay, that's one question. The last one, Dr. Rizaimy. What's your advice if you cannot find PG for CEO or lecturers from the UiTM branch campuses have great difficulty in getting PG students? So if you are working with the team members, right? If you cannot get the PG, you can ask the team members to get the PG, right? So and then you can be the co-supervisor to that PG students, right? So of course, if you yourself are not able to get the postgraduate students, right, either master or PhD, so ask your team member to get at least one student that will be put under this project, and you be the co-supervisor. It doesn't mean that you need to be the main supervisor, as long as you have the student, right? As long as you have a student. Right. So if those UiTM branches which really hard to get the postgraduate students, right? One of my advice is you can get those members, seniors members, be with them to supervise at least one student, right? And you can be the co-supervisor. That will be fine. doesn't mean that you need to be the main supervisor. As long as you have the students that been engaged to the project, been hooked up to the project, that would be fine. Yeah, that's one of the solution lah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you again, Datin Seri. All right. So on behalf of Renew and UiTM, I would like to express our gratitude and appreciations for your valuable sharings this morning. So thank you very much, Datin Seri. So hope we can see you again in the next webinar.
I'm hoping that my presentations today is something new. Coming to the 15 webinars that you have seen on the FRGS, right? Hopefully mine is a bit different than the others lah. That's why I'm trying to skip the similar one, because you might be bored. You have seen it a lot, many times, right? Okay. Hopefully my presentations is a bit different than the previous one, and you have a new things lah actually from my presentations. Thank you so much. Thank you to the organizer. Thank you, Dr. Rizaimy, again for the station, and I'm happy. Yeah, if anyone would like to get my advice, that should not be a problem. Yeah. See you again next. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.